coffin, where time had as much authority as an unplugged phone. Jack had completely lost touch with the outside world, but it had been a necessary sacrifice. He was within days of completing his project, his miracle. He did not expect Daniel Clayton to understand. "Is it something important?" Jack asked, chafing now that he was fully awake and wasting valuable lab time.
"Important? Jack, the proceedings started 20 minutes ago."
Jack's mind moved somewhere else. A refrigerator in a corner of his lab, second shelf from the top, a plastic petri dish filled with tiny specks of bacteria. One more day. 2 at most. He closed his eyes and saw Angie, her long, dark hair and her crooked, fragile smile. "All for you, Angie. I did it all for you." Jack's hands trembled. He wanted to hang up, but Clayton's voice continued to dribble into his ear.
"Did you hear me, Jack? You'd better get your ass over to Sackler Hall, the third-floor auditorium. Dean Cryer's already there, along with Professors Landry and Ballycroft, the chairs of the Judiciary Committee. Oh, and Dutton, of course. I'm sure he's in your corner, but there are specific guidelines for this sort of thing. Even Professor Dutton doesn't have enough pull to challenge the university charter."
Jack blinked, something beginning to register. A cold feeling moved through his chest. "Clayton, what the hell are you talking about?" There was a hiss of frustration on the other end.
"Open your fucking ears and listen to me."
"I am listening. Say it again so I'll understand." Clayton spoke slow enough for Jack to taste every word.
"Jack, you're being expelled."
By the time Jack stepped through the double doors at the top of the bowl-shaped auditorium, his shock had transformed into a dull, throbbing fear. In his dorm room, amid the stench of old pizza and even older laundry, the word expulsion seemed laughable. But here the word was as heavy and real as a pendulum above his throat. Sackler Auditorium smelled like Harvard, and not the diverse, glossy, laminated Harvard from the brochures. The semicircular room was vast, poorly lit, and tiled in Italian marble. Strips of crimson carpeting ran down the aisles, and huge oil paintings of long-dead alums hung from the excessively polished walls. A pair of chandeliers dangled over the raised wooden stage, trickles of orange spilling down through matching bouquets of triangular crystal. In the center of the stage stood a long steel conference table, incongruously set between stone statues of the first 2 presidents of the university. The 4 figures seated behind the conference table seemed ghostly from Jack's distance, and the only thing he could tell for sure was that they were all men, and that they, too, smelled like Harvard. As Jack began the lonely trek to the stage, he felt himself whirling backward to his first day as an undergraduate, nearly 7 years ago. Fresh from the long bus ride from New Jersey, he had sat on a hard wooden bench along the back arch of this same theater, drowning in a sea of strangers, waiting for the president of the university to speak, to tell him that he was privileged and chosen and bright, that he belonged. He had looked up at the portraits on the walls, and the bearded, aristocratic faces had stared directly back at him, lips curling into mocking smiles. Jack didn't belong. He had never belonged. The ghosts at the conference table turned real as he reached the bottom of the crimson aisle, heading for the stairs that led to the stage. He recognized Dean Cryer immediately, a towering man with harshly combed hair and thick, black-framed glasses. Next to Cryer were the 2 heads of the Judiciary Committee, Landry and Ballycroft. Landry was Harvard's oldest English professor and looked the part, frizzy white hair, sagging bloodhound eyes, skin like crumpled canvas. His clothes came straight from central casting, tweed jacket, red bow tie, striped blue shirt, and an ever-present handkerchief gripped tightly in his gnarled, trembling hand. Ballycroft was more of a mystery. By title he was an anthropologist, but Jack doubted he had ever left the ivory tower long enough to worry the dry cleaner who managed his tailored khaki suits. Ballycroft's family was one of the richest in Boston, and there had been a family member involved with Harvard since the late 17th century. Jack's feet became heavy as he reached the first step. If this was his jury...